Hey there folks, welcome to this video. Here I'm talking about F1's Wii Racers 1 display ahead of the season finale in Abu Dhabi at the Yas Marina circuit. Those of you unaware of what it is, because some broadcasters don't show it, or some, depending on, say, what kind of broadcast they're doing, might not end up showing it, but might show it at different times. It's something that started last year, organised by the Grand Prix Drivers Associations of the drivers themselves, as an N-Racing display, where before the national anthem, they elected to kneel as a display of solidarity against racism. F1 adopted it after a weird kind of thing of sort of acting against it for the British Grand Prix that year. It played a pre-recorded message. They had 20 seconds to do a gesture they felt fit. Last season it was roughly 14-6, so 14 drivers kneel, 6 stand. And then for this year, they changed it across to the Wii Racers 1 display, where racism was one of the tenets, but it also included things such as diversity and inclusion and sustainability. And this year, it's been about 50-50. 10 choose to stand, 10 choose to kneel. And I think it's worth pointing out that this is a world that F1 actively engages in now. By putting this in as a message, it's something that F1 has said, okay, this is something that we want to have as part of our message, as part of our branding. I think that's quite important when we think about, well, everything around F1. The drivers signed up to a charter for this season, the Wii Racers 1 charter. And it was to promote this agenda. The thing is, like, a lot of the items on it aren't particularly radical, so I don't get why people are particularly opposed to them. Like, for example, look at the sustainability stuff where it talks about things like single-use plastics. It's actually behind a lot of government policies in the countries F1 is visiting. But of course, there's a wider conversation that happens around F1's Wii Racers 1 message. You can find in the description below my videos I've done on the topic in the past year and a half. But it includes things such as, well, for example, the final 3 races happening in the Middle East, in countries where gay rights are non-existent, and in places like Saudi Arabia, where until only a handful of years ago, women weren't allowed to drive. And a lot of the women who campaigned for the right to drive are still in prison. A prison that the Dakar Rally went by this year, in its first edition in Saudi Arabia. And one of the things that's been wonderful to see for these final couple of races has been, for example, Lewis Hamilton's crash helmet with the Progress Pride flag, which is the pride flag for the LGBT plus community, but with further additions to look at more diversity and inclusion, in particular for, well, this year was intersex. There's a yellow triangle with the purple circle at the back of it. And yeah, Seb Vettel as well. Special for this weekend with all the kind of key terms that he associates himself with, such as BLM and LGBT plus community. Proud ally. It's brilliant to see. But, of course, the Bird app Twitter ends up being an absolute cesspool of hatred and bigotry. And with the season finale approaching with Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton in a dead heat, tensions have flamed up. I think the most despicable bits I've seen have been from the MV33 community. I saw a disgusting attempt at what some people call a meme, in which Max Verstappen's face is transposed onto Derek Chauvin, and Lewis Hamilton's onto George Floyd. I think one of the things that some around some forget is that the end racism message started in F1 after there was widespread condemnation within F1 of the murder of George Floyd by Derek Chauvin, which led to a resurgence of the Black Lives Matter movement. I think over the off-season, F1 needs to be better and do better. They did a social media blackout over the Portuguese Grand Prix weekend to say, oh, we're against racism. And Carlos Sainz, who has been accused of racism on multiple occasions, used it as an ability to go, well, I, Mr. Free Speech Carlos Sainz Jr., actually want to have an authoritarian draconian measure in which the anonymity of people is gotten rid of. Positions and power and all that. That's that for the season. Be kind, be respectful, and thank you for watching.